A common portrayal of a leader or a captain is consistently viewed as the person that should mostly take the brunt or be the anchor of a certain group. This is very true within the world of One Piece, as well as in real life. When we think of a leader or a boss, we think of a person that we have to sort of listen to and sort of follow. We all know that Oda is such a great writer, and it is also viewed this way, or it's extremely noticeable when Oda writes not only the main character or even the captain of a crew, but what the vice captain or the first mate sort of does in that crew. So today, guys, we're going to be talking about something that I believe is very important, and that is the vice captain or the first mate. This idea was sort of something that I wanted to talk about before, but thanks to Alex Jacobs in one of my videos, he ended up commenting on something that he wanted me to talk about, which I really, really wanted to talk about. And I really just want to talk about this right now because of the possible connection that this video has with Zoro and every single first mate slash vice captain that we have actually seen throughout the story of One Piece. But before we get on to the video, if this is your first time watching one of my videos, please like and subscribe. Comment in the comment section below if you have any ideas or anything you want me to talk about, or even if you want to comment on one of my videos. I'm always willing to talk One Piece and I would really enjoy it. Please put on the notification bell once you're down there as well, so you can be notified on whatever video that I end up coming out with. But let's get on to the video. Now, before we pretty much dive in to the topic of a vice captain or a first mate, we have to sort of talk about what the difference is between a captain and a vice captain. So certain things that I would probably say that would be different from the vice captain and the captain is based on the relationship of Zoro and Luffy. Luffy is the more charming one and the more trustworthy one, you could say. But that the difference between a vice captain and a captain is also the reputation that one has, like I said, being charming and trustworthy, sort of making the final decisions of the crew or for the whole entire crew, and sort of taking the burden of the amount of lives that you actually have on your crew. And the final one, I would say, is the dream. It's something that that will drive, that has a more important drive or more importance that people will literally admire about you, and that is the dream, for in Luffy's case, the dream of becoming a pirate king. It was sort of deemed sort of crazy when Luffy said it after the whole entire East Blue arc. One of the things that was consistently mentioned was how crazy Luffy's dream was, but how admirable that he was dreaming extremely high. So I feel like all these components sort of show why they sort of follow Luffy and not somebody else. Now, there's something that I want to talk about that actually resides in this topic as well, and that is the sun and the moon. And we're not talking about Pokemon, and we're not talking about any sort of lore that Oda has been putting on. But on one of Oda's Viva cards, in the Viva card data book, it sort of mentioned the connection that Shanks and Ben Beckman have with each other. That Shanks is more of the wild party hard, but he is the captain, and Ben Beckman being the person that is more calm, collective, and the smarter one, but also being something which would be very important, and that is the anchor. But another thing that I want to talk about with the whole entire relationship between Ben Beckman and Shanks is the fact that Ben Beckman is not the first mate. He is not the first person to actually get on or join Shanks' crew. So what makes him sort of different? What is needed to be the vice captain or the first mate and to solidify that position for the person? And I would say, like I said before, it has to be the anchor. They have to be the anchor of the crew, the second strongest, but also the one that is willing to pick up the pieces for the captain. And this is extremely viewed and seen consistently with the relationship of Luffy and Zoro. And we don't know much about Shanks and Ben Beckman, but this is also seen with the relationship between Katakuri and Big Mom. That the vice captain or the first mate is consistently picking up the pieces when the captain is not around or when the captain is slacking, because they need to have that sort of backbone, that anchor, and that is viewed consistently within Zoro and every other vice captain slash first mate. So in this topic, another person or the people that I really want to sort of focus on is the connection between Luffy and Zoro. Like I've mentioned before, Oda is such a great writer, especially how he sort of established the relationship between Luffy and Zoro and sort of fleshed out their individual characters. But in this story, something that I feel like is very important is the reputation and the viewpoint which makes Zoro different, a different vice captain than every other vice captain. And that is that not only was Zoro the first mate, but he was also the one that sort of changed. He was the one that sort of established himself as the anchor since the beginning of the story. And that I know that you may say like we really haven't seen the beginning of every other vice captain slash first mate, but in Zoro's case, which he is I feel like a very big part in this topic, Zoro has been the anchor of this crew since the beginning. And we've seen this multiple times in the East Blue arc when he had Luffy's back in multiple situations, but it became more prominent within the New World and the Paradise sort of section. Zoro was the person to sort of put Luffy on his feet and made Luffy sort of mature in a way, which I feel like that is the duty of a vice captain. And Zoro, he did this in numerous occasions. When we first sort of realized it was the connection or what he sort of said about Usopp towards the end of the Water 7 arc. He had to put Luffy in his place so he could know that there must be certain rules that resides in a pirate crew, and that is respect. But not only that, it goes down even further throughout the story within the situation where nothing happened, and he took all that pain and that the brunt for that Luffy had endured throughout the whole entire fight with Moria, or even one of the most recent times in Wano when they were facing off against Kaido. He made sure that Kaido did not take Luffy's head or do anything to Luffy, even if he had to face death himself. There's been multiple occasions that this has actually happened, and I feel like that is what makes Zoro sort of different to every other vice captain. So, like somebody like Killer and Captain Kidd, their relationship is different, as well as the relationship between Big Mom, Katakuri, King, Kaido, and as far as we know, Shanks and Ben Beckman. And the reason why it's different because the besides the reputation, which I will end up talking about why that is important later on in the video, but the connection that Luffy and Zoro has is extremely different than the connection that Kid and Killer has. Kid and Killer sort of grew up together, and they were best friends. It was mentioned that they were best friends since they were kids, but Killer always decided to follow Kid because of his dream. But throughout the whole entire, when they became pirates and everything, it was also mentioned that Killer, besides following Kid was the person that had the higher bounty. He had the higher bounty because he was the more threatening one. And it was sort of viewed that Kid was sort of like Luffy, where he was impulsive, but in a way to actually kill people, and that is why his bounty was sort of higher than Luffy's. But with Killer, he's more collective, he's the smarter one, and you can see that because he was the one that, now that we know it's a bad idea, but he was the one that sort of told Kid that he needed an alliance to beat a Yonko. Not only that, he made sure that Kid knew certain information and learned certain things. And that is consistently viewed within the connection between a vice captain and a captain. And I've said this multiple times in this video. That's why I feel that Oda is a great writer, because he sort of fleshes out the two different positions. Though they may bleed into each other, they're very different because one needs to take charge in a certain way compared to the other. Now, talking about the vice captains, I feel like there's something different between the vice captains and the first mate. And that is being the first mate sort of having the same scaling as the vice captain, or not scaling, but having sort of the same connections or duties as the vice captain. But the first mate is sort of a lot weaker, and it's something that has to do with more of a gap in power. Like I said, is a lot weaker, but that has to do with the amount of age gap and experience gap. So in this case, what I mean is Katakuri and Big Mom. Katakuri and Big Mom, the connection between them two has a sort. It makes things sort of different in how the pirate crew is set up. So, and unlike Zoro, where he was the anchor since the beginning, and he was the person that sort of is the second strongest, but not only that, he was the one that sort of put Luffy on the ground and to show Luffy how to mature in certain situations. But that is something that differs between Zoro and Katakuri. Katakuri is the first mate, but his reputation ended up becoming known because of Big Mom. It wasn't together or prior to Big Mom. The connection that they have with each other is sort of a reverence thing and not equal respect. Like Luffy and Zoro have equal respect, but in case of Katakuri, Big Mom and Katakuri is more treats her like a queen, or like somebody that's beyond his power. And this is very noticeable throughout the whole entire story of Totland, the arc of Totland. Not only that, the difference between Katakuri and Zoro is Katakuri was the backbone or the anchor of the crew, but the crew was sort of threatened by Big Mom because she was the person that they reside under, and the person that sort of, like I said before, established herself in the world of One Piece prior to most of their existence. But Katakuri is the person that sort of raised in rank due to his strength, but is very different, like I said before, to Zoro because of that reputation and the difference in power. And I feel like this is very flushed out even within the connection between Kaido and King. And one of the most recent SBS, it was mentioned that King only followed Kaido because of his pure strength and his connection to like power and the amount of authority that he seen in Kaido. And I feel like that is what differs between a first mate and a vice captain, where a vice captain grows up with his captain in strength, in reputation, and all of that sort of things that I mentioned before. But a first mate is sort of has to rise in ranks, gain his respect from his peers and his captain. But there's a huger gap between the vice captain and the first mate, making vice captain sort of stronger than first mates. And I feel like that's something that has been shown consistently, because another thing that was mentioned in one of the SBS was the fact that the connection in power between Shanks and Beckman and Roger and Rayleigh, these two pirate captains with their vice captain had a huge connection in strength. Though it may have differ a little bit between the captain and vice captain, they were very close in strength. Now, one of the things that I honestly want to talk about, like I said before, was reputation. The reputation sort of puts Zoro in a whole new different sort of point of view as the other vice captains and first mate that we've actually seen. The vice captains that we've seen so far, Killer, Rayleigh, as well as Ben Beckman, these guys sort of joined the crew while their captain already probably had a bounty on them. In the case of Shanks, where he had a crew established before Ben Beckman even even came to the crew. And this is sort of relevant or evident when he goes to see Yasop, and Yasop possibly actually being the first crewmate, or even like Killer and Rayleigh, where they probably grew in reputation and notoriety due to joining the pirate crew and actually going out in the world. But Zoro is different. Since the beginning, Zoro had already had a reputation, and he was known as the pirate hunter. Though his strength was formidable within the East Blue, he was also very well known outside the East Blue, and this is also realized when Baroque Works sort of heard about Zoro, as well as the people in Water 7 heard about Zoro. And this is a thing that consistently makes Zoro sort of different from every vice captain and first mate. That his reputation sort of was well known and was out there before Luffy was well known, which is quite interesting how Oda sort of flushed that out between the two relationship, the relationship between the two. But it's really just crazy how much Oda decided to flesh out the differences between a vice captain and a captain to the point where you could see that they both could actually have their own crew, but the vice captains always decide to stay with their captain because they believe in their dream and they want to protect their dream over their own. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about this topic. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, please like and subscribe to the channel. It will really help me out and I would really appreciate it. Go ahead and turn on the notification bell while you're down there as well, so you can be notified if I end up dropping any more YouTube videos. And I'll catch you guys in the next One Piece video.